Zakopane, Poland, a resort town for skiers, mountaineers, and tourists taking a break from everyday life to gaze up from the foot of the Tatra Mountains. It's the kind of town that's so pleasant, just looking at a photo of it flips a switch in your imagination and transports you there. A funicular was constructed in 1938. That's a type of cable railway system transporting tourists to the top of the mountain range. The next year, the postcard town changed again, but it wasn't from new construction or an expansion of the town into the hillsides. It changed because of the Nazis. They arrived and loaded the Jewish townspeople into trucks, moving them 68 miles to a 4x4 block ghetto in Krakow. The Duklauer family, 16-year-old Anna, her parents, her brother, and her sister, were forced into a one-bedroom apartment.
They put bricks around. It was like city in a city. You couldn't go out.
But Anna's brother Morris could. At age 14, his blonde hair and blue eyes acted as a natural disguise. He could pass for a Christian. His family urged him to sneak out of the ghetto and over to the German side, to freedom. And so he did, only to return shortly after. Morris missed his family and didn't want to be without them. On his return, Nazis found him, beat him, dragged him out of the ghetto, and loaded him into a truck. His mother saw what was happening and ran after him.
She knew she couldn't be without him. It was too painful.
Something inside Anna took her by the hand and ushered her to a truth she didn't want to accept. This was it, the last time she'd ever see them. Anna watched as the truck lurched forward with her brother, her mother, and a part of her she could never get back. I'm Doug Frazier, and this is Stars Among Us. In 1942, Anna and what remained of her family got out of the ghetto, not by choice, but to be transported to a newly built concentration camp known as KL Płaszów.
Oh, this was a terrible day. First they start to scream, the German, early in the morning with the dogs. And then they say, everybody has to go out. And we went out, and there, when we've been out, they make the selections. And old people on one side, too young, and children with the old people, and healthy young people on the other side.
Those deemed strong enough were sent to work at KL Płaszów. Several thousand others, the children, the elderly, the weak, were taken to extermination camps and murdered.
And now you have to go, leave everything, just take something in your two hands and go to a concentration camp, which was built on a cemetery.
At its peak, approximately 25,000 prisoners were held captive at KL Płaszów.
This is abbreviation of German word concentration lager. It's like concentration camp. Now this means that I belong to a camp as a prisoner, and I am a prisoner. If I run away, somebody see this, so they shoot me right away, the German.
The KL Płaszów camp was built on two Jewish cemeteries, a short walk from the ghetto. Anna's first assignment was headstone duty.
They give us hammer in the hands and tell us to break the stones, the gravestones, and make street from it, roads.
The camp didn't have gas chambers. The killings were carried out by bullets and overseen by a man whose violent acts are considered some of history's most vile war crimes, the Butcher of Płaszów. Another pile of sheets fell at Anna's feet. She carried them to her washing station at KL Płaszów and scrubbed at the stains. It was her job to clean the fabric of the crimson bloods and sprays, stories of death penned in blood.
I was washing the bloody sheets. If they brought this up to Plaszow from ghetto, because ghetto was liquidated. Was no more ghetto. They brought the bloody shit to the laundry place, and we've been washing like this by hands, because they've been shooting people in the ghetto. And blood come very hard out. So we have stoves there, and big container with water and soap, and we have to boil this.
Wherever Amon Goth went, fear followed. He was known as the Mad Commandant, the Butcher of Plaszow. His first day on the job, he addressed the camp. "I am your God," he declared. And soon after, he shot and killed 2 Jewish policemen as a public display of power. Prisoners' fates lied in his hands. Death was at his disposal.
It was very scary to see him, especially when we hear barking the dogs.
Goth's 2 imposing dogs, one a Great Dane and the other a German Shepherd mix, were trained to tear inmates to death.
He was a monster. This was not a human being. He has a girl, she worked for him, and he beat her daily. And a guy, he worked for him. Something was not clean enough what he wanted. He shot him.
Amon Goth was regularly seen beating prisoners and murdering them in cold blood, all the while living a luxurious life in his house at Plaszow. Those who'd been around long enough knew that when he arrived on his balcony donning his alpine hat, the kind you might have seen yodelers wear, it was time to hide. He saw the prisoners' lives as a game, a carnival shooting gallery. If one prisoner tried to escape from the camp, he killed 10 as punishment. Anna watched as Goth hung her friend because he had once been rich. He shot people who said the wrong thing. Even with all Goth's evil acts that Anna witnessed, she didn't hate him. She couldn't. She was too busy being afraid. And then one day, a small Jewish man dressed in a suit arrived. He needed 10 women to work in a factory. He asked Anna her name, then wrote it down on a sheet of paper. The man worked with Oskar Schindler. Anna had been put on Schindler's list. By that time, Schindler had become known for running factories where life was much better than at the camps. But Anna resisted the invitation. She didn't want to leave her sister. "Go," her sister begged her. "With Schindler, there is life." And so, she did. Stars Among Us is brought to you by the Holocaust Commission of the United Jewish Federation of Tidewater and other fine sponsors, and has been funded in part by a grant from Virginia Humanities. If you're interested in finding out more about the Holocaust and Anna Perl's story, please visit holocaustcommission.org/starsamongus. Our producer is Elka Mennick. Our executive producers are Wendy Jurin-Auerbach and Gail Litwin-Flax. Stars Among Us is distributed by WHRO Public Media.